Well, now to our Talk Tonight segment. We start with our latest installment of Inside Justice with Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick talking about some of the issues in local law. And he's going to join us. Actually, you may not know this yet, but you're going to join us for 2 segments tonight.
Wow.
Think we can
What's the other segment?
find things to talk about?
Sure.
We could talk about kind of whatever you want. I mean, you can make
Whatever
up something.
Okay.
But let's start out by focusing on this idea. Craig Benedict, Assistant U.S. Attorney, got in some trouble this summer for having a party. And he was charged, ticketed. Now it seems like this case would be resolved. I don't know what you want to say about that case, but what about this idea of a fellow prosecutor getting in some trouble with the law? How do you handle that?
Well, first of all, in the interest of full disclosure, I know Craig. He's an outstanding public servant, and he's a great guy. And he lives on this enormous property out in Madison County. And what happened, I think he was beset by this social media tsunami that went out, like, this is where we got to go. And a lot of these kids that were there were uninvited, and they show up with booze. And John Mule, who's the special prosecutor, who's a friend of mine and is a really solid guy, you know, he, I think, articulated it very well in the paper today. Look, there's what I think, there's what I know, and there's what I can prove. And I can't prove that U.S. Attorney Benedict, you know, knowingly countenanced the consumption of alcohol, which is what he has to do. Call your first witness. Sorry, Judge, I haven't got any. So I think if that's the way it's resolved, that's probably a fair way to resolve it, and it's embarrassing for Craig.
You know, you've prosecuted many, underage drinking cases. It's obviously very important. You know, we don't want our kids drinking. But,
right.
You know, what is a parent to do? This obviously is one of those situations where,
right.
You know, perhaps he didn't know what was going to be coming to his doorstep. So, you know, what is your best advice for parents when they're dealing with teenagers who, you know, may want to hold these parties?
Don't have any. No, I mean, obviously they got to have some party. I mean, I could think of some things that would be draconian, like grab everybody's cell phone on the way in, and, you know, put all your keys over here, and, you know, the bigger the house, the more property, the more difficult it becomes to police it. But my advice is, you know, have people there, have neighbors, have other kids' parents there, have a game plan, and say, these are the rules. There's zero tolerance. Nobody's gonna, you know, we're just gonna take a little sip of booze. None of that stuff. Because the consequences, Megan, are so draconian. A kid gets drunk at a party, goes out and kills somebody. You could be criminally charged. You could lose your home, lose your fortune, and perhaps lose your liberty. So really, my advice in the time allotted to me is have a game plan. Be smart, use your common sense.
It's a bit of a different era than it was 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean,
drinking age is obviously 21 instead of 18, changes the dynamic.
Yeah, I grew up in the 50s and 60s, and, you know, if you wanted to let someone know, you picked up the rotary phone and you called them. Now, you can, 30 seconds after you get there, you can notify 500 kids, and if 10% of them show up, you've got a problem on your hand.
What if parents are out of town? I mean, who's liable? How does that work?
Well, it depends on the parents whether or not they took proper measures to maintain the security of their home. I mean, normally you have to have some participation, some mental element to be prosecuted. And, you know, little Johnny and Mary have to realize that when mom and dad are out of town, it's not playtime.
It's not carte blanche.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
We want to talk more with you in just a moment as the Talk Tonight continues. We're going to get into the issue of gangs in Syracuse, Central New York, Onondaga County. Where are the problems and what can be done to solve some of that? When we continue our discussion, Inside Justice with Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick.